Hi, I'm Kelly Holmes and I'm campaigning to get school children more active in my role as National School Sports Champion. Adults other than teachers or AOTs can make a great contribution to providing children with more high quality PE and sport in schools. But whether it's a professional sports coach or an enthusiastic parent, it's important to be clear about how and when to use them. In this programme, two very different schools show the way.
"18 months ago, Jo Lee became concerned that her daughter wasn't getting enough high-quality physical education in her Year 3 class of 37 children. Her daughter is a pupil at Denton Primary School in Northamptonshire.
For the first time ever, I sort of raised, in my view, a negative point at a parents' evening, which I'd never had to do before. And the teacher then basically explained that what the school were trying to do was to get more adults and parents to become more involved with the school and particularly with PE. So I basically put my money where my mouth was and I gave up half a day of my job and started helping out.
Jo had always enjoyed sport, but her background was in business, not teaching. The school and the School Sport Partnership prepared her for her role.
I immediately went through all the sort of standard courses, which were, first of all, the CRB check. In Northampton, we have an AOTS course, which gives you an introduction to the PE curriculum, which was all fantastic, 'cause I was used to business type training, so this was like really interesting. I went on a first aid for sport, I went on long-term athlete development, fundamentals of movement, inclusion, people with disabilities. So all of those that tend to be run, I think, through the Northamptonshire Schools Partnership.
What do we have to do before we do any PE session?
Ooh, stretches.
We have to do stretches. What else do we have to do?
Initially, Jo always worked with a teacher present, but she enjoyed the work so much she went on to take coaching qualifications in several sports, such as netball. The training added a new dimension for Jo.
It was just fantastic to learn so much about sport, about an area that I've loved all my life but never actually studied. So it was fantastic to get those elements, but really it was this how to position it for the children, for the sort of 5 to 12-year-olds, which is the key groups that I tend to work with. And that's definitely what I got most out of these courses.
We got one, don't there?
With increasing experience and her Level 2 coaching awards, Jo started enhancing provision by using her specialist skills in 3 more partnership schools.
Red 4.
She was also able to work without direct supervision. However, a designated teacher is always nearby and retains responsibility for health and safety and ensuring the 4 strands of national curriculum PE are taught.
It's very important there's a constant dialogue between the teacher and the AOT, because obviously from my point of view, I need to make sure I know exactly what Jo is doing, and I need to check that Jo is delivering what I would like her to deliver, that obviously being the skills which are written down within the national curriculum. And also as well from Jo's point of view, she needs to come to me and say if there has been any problems within her lesson, or indeed she might come to me and she might say, well, you know, I feel that this child's got a particular skill within this area, and how can we develop this particular child? Can we put this child in touch with another coach?
For rural schools like Denton, getting access to a range of AOTs or coaches can be tricky, so developing local people to enrich the curriculum is very worthwhile. But it's important that the role of an AOT is clearly defined.
My feeling is that it's not actually their role to assess individual children in a way that we would use for reporting to parents. I actually think that that is the teacher's responsibility. And I think if you're an AOT who's working with 250 children during the course of the week, there can't be an expectation that you're going to assess individuals.
1, 2. 1, 2. So okay, number 1's here.
While it's not appropriate for the AOT to make summative assessments, they can and should make formative assessments. This is just one of the ways in which they can be very helpful to teachers.
2, 4, after 3, Amy. 1, 2, 3.
Turn out! Having somebody like Joe means that predominantly for me, I can work with smaller groups of children. Sometimes as well, I obviously would maybe go in and do, say, an observation, so I can assess in quite good detail exactly what the children are doing and what sort of levels the children are at within the national curriculum.
OK, off we go. Off you go. Oh, good technique, Lewis.
Head teachers are responsible for ensuring the competence of AOTs in their schools.
Rather you went slow and did it right and not hurt yourself. Good, Lottie. Super skipping. Well done, Ellie.
Competence is analysed in relation to their expertise and the given activity, but also takes into account a number of other factors. Firstly, it's crucial that they know the pupils and their needs.
You can do it. Let's all give Cameron some cheering. Come on, Cameron. Well done.
Part of my role is obviously to communicate with Joe or an AOT any specific needs that the children have within the class. I would probably say to them, well, come along, maybe observe some lessons, come and work with the children alongside me first of all. I would do that first before really I gave them a group of children.
I didn't see who came first, you were all so good. You were really good.
The assessment of competence also needs to ensure the sports coach or AOT understands safe practice and the requirements of the national curriculum. He or she also needs the skills to manage the behaviour of a group of children. This is a field in which non-teachers often welcome support.
I'm still looking for my development, to look for avenues to help develop me in dealing with the behavioural issues of only a very small percentage of the children. I'm fortunate because I've got an assistant or I've got the classroom teacher in most cases where there's some severe behavioural issues that will take control of that element. But I personally feel that I want to develop myself to be able to deal with those issues as well.
Right at the beginning, Amy got a little bit upset.
I saw. But you know, I was so pleased with how you dealt with that because I was...
After the lesson, Joe and class teacher Suzanne discuss how it went.
I think you dealt with that really well and how you involved her back in it as well. So I thought that was great, really, really good. So well done for that.
The relationship between the AOT and the teacher works incredibly well when there is joint planning, regular communication, precise feedback after lessons, and it works two ways really. The teacher gains new ideas for practices and for lessons. The AOT gains a greater teaching strategy awareness.
On the outskirts of Bradford lies a very different school. Tong School is a large specialist sports college with a team of 6 AOTs, referred to as sports assistants. They work there full-time as associate staff. Ross Towler, one of the sports assistants, is supervising the preschool activity club for girls.
Well done.
The presence of staff like Ross enables the school to offer its pupils an enhanced range of opportunities and sports-specific expertise.
Good effort this morning, girls.
There isn't time to change into PE kit, but the cricket does provide a structured activity and help raise girls' participation rates. It also gives them the opportunity to be coached by a former England under-19s and professional cricketer. Later, sports assistant Neil Holmes supervises a lunchtime tag rugby session. Since this programme was filmed, the school has decided it's best for pupils to remove their ties. Like Ross, Neil was involved in coaching and professional sport before coming to the school. But sporting expertise alone isn't enough to make a good AOT. And Tong ensures rigorous training so its assistants develop skills appropriate to working with school pupils. Specific personal qualities are also considered vital.
Any adult we think who comes into a specialist school has to be able to engage with young people, has to be able to empathise with young people, has to be able to relate to young people. If they can't, please don't come.
Good girl, well done. Well done. Excellent effort, good girl.
Next, Neil and his colleagues supervise a scheme called Pupils Mad About Sport, or PUMAS. The aim is to re-engage disaffected Year 8, 9 and 10 boys by giving them responsible roles in running an activity challenge for primary children.
How did we get that? 65.
In a secondary school like Tong, where a number of pupils display challenging behaviour, disciplinary issues can arise. Sports assistants are equipped to deal with them, but also know that teachers are on hand to handle more serious matters. For Steve Gates, it's about achieving the right balance.
In terms of discipline, and especially when it may come to home and school contact, I think really that's when we kind of draw the line between associate staff and our PE teachers, for example.
You got any more questions for me, Jack?
Yeah.
Keep firing them at me.
Associate staff have a different relationship with young people. It's far less formal, it's much more informal, it's much more one of trust and confidence in them, and they therefore perhaps need to be pulled out of the loop when it comes to disciplining them in order not to harm that relationship and break that trust.
The sports assistants work with the gifted and talented as well as the disaffected. Twins Emma and Lorraine are on the judo training squad for Great Britain in the Olympics. Lead sports assistant Jane Barber counts mentoring them among her many roles.
They'll have many conflicts. They'll have extra camps and training to attend. They'll also have their clubs that they need to train with. They'll have to do extra physical activities, eat properly, but they're also in Year 9, which means they have to do the SATs. And these girls also need a social life as well. And so therefore, there's lots of many different conflicts that may arise. And so we're just there to help and support. And if they need some time out, just to sit down with them, have 5, and if they've got any problems, see if we can solve them problems.
The Pumas and mentoring roles are just some of the ways that sports assistants work independently outside curriculum time, and they're invaluable. Within curriculum time, Tong is in a position to follow best practice. Although it's not a legal requirement, the sports assistants always work with a teacher present. In this class, PE teacher Lynn Smith has pupils of widely differing ability. Thanks to the presence of a sports assistant and a trainee teacher, it's possible to enhance learning and safety by splitting the class into 3 ability groups.
Well, from my point of view, it makes a big difference. They're really helpful. I actually have 3 groups in the swimming pool. Every single year group that I have is split into 3 ability groups. Consequently, if the sports assistants are not with me, then I'm actually dealing with all 3 groups at the same time. So asking them to lead the groups is really advantageous.
Whether they are sports assistants, coaches, AOTs, or in the new terminology, adults supporting learning, adults other than teachers have a great deal to offer. The key to their successful use lies in pre-employment checks, appropriate training and assessment of competence. Having a designated teacher responsible for AOT support and development and clearly defined roles and responsibilities. And ensuring that sporting expertise is matched by enjoyment of working with children. As schools strive to offer more high-quality physical education and sport, there is much to be gained from the appropriate use of adults other than teachers.
This school would not be successful without associate staff. They are a fantastic group of committed people who share the ethos of this specialism, this school.
We had half-term not long since, and to be able to come into work that very first morning back and walk down the corridor at 6:45 on the morning and think, I'm so lucky to be able to come back to work after a holiday and think, oh, I love this, is special.